are listening to Voice of the Fans Sportscast, brought to you by none other than the voices of the fans.
Oh, Canada.
For Wednesday, the 11th of March, I'm Randy Couray. This is Voice of the Fans Canada. Hope you're doing well, and thank you so much for joining us. We are live on YouTube as well as X at VOF Canada. Thank you so much for watching us live. If you have downloaded tonight's episode, thank you, as always, for the download. Quite a bit to talk about. It is, the Ides of March have not come as of yet, but lots of baseball to talk about. The regular season for Major League Baseball is less than 3 weeks away. We are going to talk about that, as well as we are going to try and get through what took place in Milan with the Olympic hockey tournament. And of course, really a terrific night in sports with history being made in South Florida. The Roundtable has assembled as always. Joining us with the apropos background regarding our Toronto Maple Leafs, Dan Leggieri is here. Dano, how are you?
Oh, hello, Randy. Always happy to be here, and pleasure to see your face again.
It is great to see you as well, and we will get into the background that you have selected in a moment. He always has a golden smile, and his country is feeling a little golden these days. Joining us from south of the 49th parallel, the host of Foursquare Sports. Be sure to give Foursquare Sports a like at the number 4 SQ Sports. He is Matt Siriani. Matt, how's it going?
Oh my gosh, great to be back. It's been a while. You've cleaned up a little bit with the new intro and I love it. I love it.
Oh, thank you so much. You're too kind. It was time for a quick change, and I was fiddling around if we should have a new intro song as well, but it's baby steps, Maddie. Baby steps.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Jay Cardinale will join us as well, and I'd love to get his perspective as well with regards to what took place again with the hockey tournaments in the recent Winter Olympics. Of course, Canada was in the gold medal match, but in both the men's and women's tournament, Canada came up short. And, Dano, I don't know what your thoughts were with regards to what Canada's chances were in claiming Olympic gold. I personally did genuinely think that the U.S. did have a stronger team. They were that much younger. Their goaltending was that much stronger. Their defense was what it was. But I did have to ask you, of course, you are a big soccer fan, and you have roots from Italy. Italy has had, of course, some incredible successes, but recently have had a little bit of struggles. And, as a proud Canadian of Italian heritage, with the losses that Canada had in those 2 gold medal games, was it comparable to what you experienced for when you were following the Italian soccer team?
It's an interesting question and a big dilemma for I'm not sure if Matt can appreciate just how much of a conflict it is internally when Italian sports and Canadian sports are pitted against another. There's this big debate of whether Canadian Italians like me, first generation Canadian, should cheer for Italy when it comes to soccer because they may be the first game of this year's World Cup. So there's always this, who's better at what sport, who should I cheer for, where does my heart ultimately lie? But it's remarkable how, like my background would suggest, I'm a Leafs fan. So it seems like all my teams are just losing in spectacular fashion these days, whether it's the Leafs or the Canadian national hockey team or the Italian men's national soccer team. So, Randy, for me personally, Italy's more disappointing this time around, the soccer team being where they are again and potentially missing a third consecutive World Cup and losing in a knockout stage to a very lesser light, with all due respect to Bosnia, Herzegovina, and Wales and Northern Ireland. These are teams that they should beat to get into the tournament. But like you said off the top, I agree with you where going into the Olympics, I was convinced that the Americans had our number this year, just based on their team from the bottom down. We still have, in my opinion, the 3 best players in the world, and they can carry you to any championship, which they almost did. But the Americans have a very good system. They've been dominating at all levels of ice hockey, and it's no surprise to see that both men and women won gold this year. So potentially seeing Italy lose in another World Cup qualifying playoff in 2 weeks' time would be more heartbreaking than seeing Canada lose a championship or gold medal game this time around. In years past, it may have been different, but just where we are and what's been happening with both programs, Canada seems to have either stagnated or maybe even declined a bit. And honestly, the tournament was as it should have been, minus Sweden not showing as well as they should have. It was Finland, the States, Canada, and Sweden. And 3 out of those 4 teams made a really good showing. And at the end of the day, the better team won, to be honest.
Well, I completely agree. And it was it was great to see that, of course, Canada had so many chances. McKinnon missed the open net. Devon Taves was absolutely stymied by Hellebuck there towards the third period. And it was really great. Actually, I did have a roundtable last night, and Kevin Zeliskovich not only wore a New Jersey Devils jersey, but it was a Jack Hughes jersey. Really great to see. Jake Cardinale is the 4th member of our roundtable. He is the host of Talking Sports with Jake. Follow Jake on X at Jake3152. Jake, how are things, my man?
I'm good, Randy. Good to see you guys. I'm very excited for today's show. Very excited to talk some baseball later.
Mm-hmm.
Most definitely. And, Jake, we were talking about the success that USA's hockey teams had at the Olympics there. And, I did want to ask, because me personally, Dan and I, of course, being big Maple Leaf fans, Mitch Marner is not a part of the Leafs anymore, and he scored a big overtime goal against Czechia. Nick Suzuki from the Montreal Canadiens scored a big goal as well during the Olympics, and it's the beauty of international hockey when teams from your hated club teams are actually a part of your team. And you are a Rangers fan. You're proud to wear that Rangers t-shirt, and the hero of your country is from those hated New Jersey Devils. I mean, was that a little weird for you to cheer for Jack Hughes along with any other player who's a rival to the New York Rangers, and then to have Jack Hughes score the winning goal?
It was a little weird. I can't lie. It was definitely a little bit rough. I do not like him by any means. I know a bunch of Devils fans. I went to school at Sacred Heart University. There's a lot of good amount of New Jerseyans up there, so I know a bunch of Devils fans. So it was a little odd cheering for him, but I don't have a personal problem with the guy, and he's a great player, and he won a USA gold medal, or helped US win a gold medal. So I can excuse him for past transgressions. In the Olympics.
Yeah. Well, I could despise him a little bit because he is dating Tate McRae. I mean, yeah, she is.
Wow.
Yeah. No, isn't that true, Dano? I mean, like he is. Isn't that the case?
Yeah, he stole 2 Canadian golds all at once.
Yeah, he certainly did. And, beyond Jack Hughes and so on, I personally, and I probably even mentioned it to the three of you at some point, where
Mhm.
I really feel that the U.S. has not done a great job in marketing hockey throughout your country. I mean, we were I personally was born before the Miracle on Ice, but of course, I didn't really appreciate the business of sports in the early 80s. But
Mhm.
when you think about the Miracle on Ice, you think about the New York Islanders winning 4 straight cups in a row. You think about the '96 World Cup of Hockey where USA won. There really hasn't been a lot of movement or growth, especially before the turn of the century. We could talk about how things are going now, but Maddie, being in the New Jersey area, I was wondering if you noticed more people following the hockey tournaments who maybe weren't hockey fans. Like, did you see more TVs at the bars, putting on the game? Not only it didn't have to really be USA, but just any hockey game in general. Like, did you feel the growth and the enjoyment uh, of hockey during the Olympics?
Well, I think the fact that Jack Hughes scored the winning goal for Team USA, it was a 46-year drought. Keep that in mind. It was such a long drought since the U.S. won a gold medal in hockey. So it was a big, significant event. And also big for New Jersey because, the New Jersey Devil doing it. It was so big. The governor of our state went to a hockey game, and she was invested the entire time. Like, I've never seen, I think, well, the Devils are not that good this year. So unfortunately, it kind of pales a little bit as far as like a featured attraction. But if you do go to a New Jersey bar, you will see hockey games on, like primetime hockey games, that are given a lot of coverage. And I think that's a big thing that has to do with Jack Hughes doing it, and also Team USA. Because as much as it's big in New Jersey, it's big across the U.S. because like I said, we finally experienced hockey success not just with the men, but also with the women. Hillary Knight went out on like riding into the sun, and she had a great tournament, and she had a great career, and now she's walking out on top. And it's a great story for Team USA because, like I said, we haven't been at the top in a long time, and I think part of it has to do with the fact that we lost in the Four Nations face off to Canada. That probably fueled the fire a little bit, and probably got us more invested because we're like, oh, we came so close last time, and Canada's been a thorn on our side for a long time, and we finally got over the hump. I feel like that's why US got to appreciate it a little bit more. Oh, Randy, I think you muted.
Damn, I did it again. Do you think? I mean, New Jersey and Jake, where you are, I mean, I think that's one thing. But what about the Midwest of the U.S.? There's a hockey team in North Carolina. I mean, what are
Right.
your thoughts? Like, if you two could guess, do you think that TVs in, say, Charlotte or Austin or Reno, Nevada, like, do you think that
Right.
bars would have maybe not even so much the hockey games, but even just the Winter Olympics in general? I mean, I could appreciate that the Winter Olympics, especially and to a degree hockey, especially hockey, whatever, may not have an affection for it like it does throughout all of Canada.
I think for Olympic hockey, they might. Olympic hockey, I feel like Americans, they're never gonna appreciate hockey like Canada. I don't think ever. But like the highest level of hockey, I think they have an appreciation for, like postseason hockey, Olympic hockey, like that kind of hockey. I do think Americans truly do watch a lot. So if I had to guess, I mean, I don't really know anybody that lives out in the Midwest. Or you mentioned Austin, Texas. That I don't really know too many people down south either. If I had to guess, they were probably watching the Olympics and were cheering for the U.S. and we're happy that they won.
Maddie?
Yeah, I think it also depends on, like, well, obviously Olympic hockey is going to bring people together because it's the Olympics. It's not a team thing; it's a country thing. That's probably why you saw at 8:00 in the morning bars were open for the gold medal game because it was such a big deal. The best rivalry in hockey, U.S. and Canada. But I feel like as a whole, like regular season hockey, postseason hockey, I think postseason hockey you're more inclined to see bars and restaurants televise hockey games. But for like regular season hockey, especially if you don't have a hockey team in your area, you're probably not going to be able to see regular season hockey. Like there's no hockey team in Wisconsin, so you're not going to see regular season hockey be played there.
But they have the Badgers. I mean, the Badgers, I believe, have a pretty decent hockey program.
Oh yeah, the Wisconsin Badgers, but like that's different. Like college hockey, collegiate hockey, and pro hockey are two completely different things. Like it really depends on where you are and what kind of hockey teams you have, and also just the coverage that you have. Because like the Midwest doesn't really like. Obviously, you have the Red Wings, the Detroit Red Wings in Michigan, but you really don't have, and the Columbus Blue Jackets, I guess. But in the Midwest, you really don't have too much hockey to look forward to, other than Olympic hockey or the Four Nations face-off or any country-related events. But it really depends geographically where hockey is popular. Like in the Northeast, hockey's big in the Northeast. But
Sure.
some of the places you're not going to see that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Dano, for two guys like us, I wonder what it was like in 1980 in the U.S. when Mike Eruzione scored. That had to have been such a huge moment. And I don't know if it's that far of a stretch where people in Arizona heard the name Mike Eruzione. And if it did stick, I mean, obviously the news cycle wasn't as instant and as accessible as it is now. But I mean, a gold medal is a gold medal. And the Miracle on Ice was what it was. Before we get into how important the gold medals were for the U.S., do you think that it captured, Mike Eruzioni's 1980s goal captured more Americans' attention than, say, Jack Hughes? Because I just, like I said, I just think that it just speaks to my point about the U.S., about the NHL, missing an opportunity, capitalizing on the success that took place at Lake Placid.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily agree. And again, I'm coming at it from a Canadian's point of view. So Matt, Jake, step in, correct me if I'm misrepresenting any time. But from what I can gauge just based on the research I've done and the stuff I've watched on the 1980 Olympics, where most Americans probably didn't even know that the Americans had a team, an ice hockey team in the Olympics until they beat the Russians in the semifinals.
Right. Yeah.
So, the media really got behind that narrative because the Cold War was happening. This is a group of essentially college kids that came out of nowhere to beat the world's foremost hockey authority, and then probably paid attention to the gold medal game, and then it died after that. But I think that they've done a remarkable job capitalizing on that moment still 46 years later, where there's still documentaries on it. People are still talking about it. It's still a really meaningful moment in time for American sports fans, as one to look back on pretty fondly. And since then, you can argue it may have taken a long time just because permeating the American psyche, or the long-standing histories that baseball and football and other sports have in that sport, where to go from a bunch of maybe third liners being in the NHL at that time to now having premier players. And I think the stat last I heard was like 30 to 35% of players in the NHL are American born now. So the national I always forget the acronym, the National Development Program, they've done a remarkable job of not only bringing kids in, but developing them into really marketable stars worldwide. Like when they do the European tours, they're marketing whatever hometown they're in, but then it's Matthews, it's it's Jack Eichel, it's Jack Hughes, it's these guys that have really taken the game to a new level. And you would think just like soccer is in Canada now that Canada's got a little bit of traction nationally in their soccer program, slowly more kids start playing at the grassroots level. And then 15, 20 years from now, we may be a dominant force, just like the States is in hockey all of a sudden. Not all of a sudden, but again, it's that slow progression.
Yeah.
So, and as much as you hate Gary Bettman, you almost have to admire how much he finds these pockets of the country to grow the game and draw free agents to make legitimate, I'm drawing a blank on the word, but the communities.
Yeah, a great experience for sure, because Nashville took a really long time to develop. They got Smashville, and it's apparently they're really taking to hockey. Like, actually, I was at Nashville a couple years ago. I didn't go to the hockey game, but I was at a bar right by Bridgestone Arena. I think it's called Bridgestone still, but there's it was decked out, like everybody was decked out in Preds gear, and there was a presence in Nashville, even Vegas. Now, this was before the Raiders came to Vegas, but there was a huge presence of the Golden Knights.
Yeah, and the NHL has that. They have that ability, unlike any other of the big four sports leagues in North America, where they can go out on a limb and create that road into Vegas that now everybody else is following. The MLB is following, the NFL's followed. It's only a matter of time before the NBA gets a team in there as well. So, I think. So I just to go back to the original question, I think whoever lit the fuse under the 1980s team and created lifelong fans and kids who wanted to play the game and growing the game as far as a profitable sport, when you've got so much competition, even in small towns, right? You talk about Wisconsin or places like Minnesota, where their hockey teams, their college hockey teams are followed, but they're up against like massive NCAA teams, right? They just not on the same level. So I think they've done a good job, and I think that they'll continue to do a good job. Winning gold will sort of light a fire under the next generation that wants to play as well. And hopefully the cycle just keeps growing from there, because it's good for the game to have good competition. Where Matt, you talk about the American women's team, and I'll finish on this thought where as a Canadian, it was honestly really boring when it was just Canada winning all the time. And right. Crept up and created that rivalry. Now even Sweden's got a decent team on the women's program. So the fact that Canada doesn't just go in and walk all over everybody is ultimately better for everybody, I think. Even for Hockey Canada, who will now hopefully go back and start to develop some good goalies because they don't have anybody anymore. So
it's a good point. Yeah, exactly.
And, to that, Dano, I have to say that I wonder if, the NHL going on TNT is sorry, you guys still with me?
No, we're good. We're good.
Okay, great. Because I was wondering, because my free screen just froze there. I was wondering if the NHL on TNT is a massive reason for any sort of potential growth before the Olympics, because I think Paul Bissonnette and the Spitting Chicklets podcast, I think it's just absolutely working and doing quite well. Like, these guys do have a great personality, and there is so much testosterone like there is in the NFL. And I think that is what really sells. But obviously it helps if your country has a winning product, and the US definitely has a winning product. Like, how excited do you think the NHL is? I mean, despite the injuries that did take place, I'm sure there's a lot of bumps and bruises beyond what happened to Sidney Crosby, Kevin Fiala. This has to be such a win-win scenario for the U.S. winning gold, let alone Canada winning silver.
It has to be. I think, you bringing up, Mason Crosby hurting himself, Sidney Crosby hurting himself in the Olympic hockey tournament. It almost reminds me of when Edwin Diaz hurt himself in the WBC a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it kind of reminds me of. Like, it's a patriotic, country-worth thing, but there could be some consequences. And this is, I think, one of the reasons why people were skeptical about putting NHL players into Olympic hockey play. Kind of like how Major League Baseball is kind of skeptical with putting Major League Baseball players in the WBC, because if a major athlete gets hurt for their team, it's going to cost them. And I can only imagine Sidney Crosby getting hurt is probably going to hurt the Pittsburgh Penguins a lot. And
baseball's had a lot of problems with that. Well, the problem, I know we're going to talk about the World Baseball Classic a little bit later, but it's right before the season, so the pitchers aren't stretched out yet. Like Paul Skeens only went 4 innings in the game that he pitched. Guys aren't stretched out yet, so the timing is tough. But the Mets have had a couple of guys get hurt. We mentioned Diaz. Seth Lugo, who pitches for the Royals, he came up with the Mets as a starter. When 1 year he pitched for, I believe he pitches for Puerto Rico, and they used him so much, and he ended up hurting his elbow, and he missed like half of one season, and he never really recovered for a while. That's one of the reasons the Mets put him in the bullpen. They needed some bullpen up for years when they had him, but also he just didn't have the arm to get through a full season as a starter. It wasn't until he left the Mets to where he really got fully healthy. So that tournament kind of ruined him. And going back to like playing NHL players in it, the longest time I've been against it, because we've had guys get hurt. You saw Sidney Crosby. John Tavares, I think, had a pretty serious injury years ago with the Islanders.
Yeah, sure did. Blew out his ACL.
He ended up being okay afterwards. He's had a lot of really good seasons afterwards for both the Islanders and the Maple Leafs. So that's thankful. But also you got to remember, a lot of the top Olympic hockey moments have not featured NHL players. Like we mentioned earlier, the Miracle on Ice team, there were 0 NHL players on that. 0 NHL players. Like I know a couple went on to the NHL. Like Ken Morrow had a great career in the NHL, but like I personally know him from the U.S. team, not necessarily maybe because he played in the 80s. But
I think is he not in the Hall of Fame?
Yes, he had a great NHL career, but there's, I think, a certain part of people that know.
Oh yeah, sure. No, I'll put it. I'll ballpark thing around 10.
Defenseman for a long time in the NHL. I think he was on those Islanders teams that were great. And
no, he was. I think he won all 4.
One of the all-time greats, but yeah, so it's very risky. I'm not a big fan of the World Baseball Classic personally. I just think it does more harm than good because the timing is so bad. But this Olympics with the NHL players in it was absolutely electric.
It's funny you're talking about timing of all, because I was listening to TSN Radio here in Toronto, and Ernie Witt, the manager of Canada, is not a fan of the timing, as you mentioned. And he was actually thinking that it should be during the season. And I think that is an absolutely terrible idea, because the possibility of injury during the tournament sorry?
During the season, no.
Yeah.
No. Classic?
The World Baseball Classic, because
that is one of the worst ideas.
No.
So where are you gonna I personally have always thought that it should be after the World Series.
Playing the World Series on Thanksgiving at that point.
Seriously.
Well, yeah, sure. The World Series could be close to you.
It usually ends like around Halloween-ish. I'm just thinking you take 3 weeks after 3 weeks to play the tournament. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. That's basically things we're gonna have. And also they're not going to compete with the NFL.
So there's that too. So then, if you have the World Baseball Classic after the World Series, you potentially are having the championship game close to December.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, it depends how far after you do the World Baseball Classic, but you got to give the players a chance to breathe at least, especially the guys that were in the World Series. Like for example, if you did this past year, the Dodgers and Jays would have had a lot of players, I'm sure, in the World Baseball Classic. I think you would probably have like the championship game in December, which is the very last part of the regular season. So that would be a problem too for them.
So off the top here, like putting you guys on the spot, would you rather have? Well, Dano, I don't know if you personally think that the World Baseball Classic should be mid-season, but between where it's when it's being held now middle of the season, or after the World Series? When do you guys think that they should have this tournament?
I think you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Really, any sort of international sports tournament is not in favor from your regular club teams. Even the World Cup is one that I'm
Yeah.
sure if you talk to again, sorry to just Canadianize the content for a second, but Alfonso Davies tore his ACL playing for Team Canada, and Bayern Munich was none too happy about it. So these international friendlies and these tournaments, there's always that inherent risk. But I'm confused by all three of you were very adamant that the World Baseball Classic there's no way it could ever be in the middle of the season. But we just finished talking about how electric the Olympic break was in the middle of the hockey season. And you think like guys like Nathan McKinnon and Connor McDavid and Jack Hughes probably isn't going to make the playoffs. But these guys are not going to be at their best when it comes to finishing the season and come playoff time.
Right.
It's probably better in the middle of the season, to Jake's point, where at least pitchers are warmed up. They're not risking injuring themselves before getting ramped up before the season starts. So I don't know. I'm okay with it in the middle of the season.
Well, I think my problem, Dano, is that these hockey players are concentrating on something that's not the NHL. And if I'm the NHL, why in the world would I want that? I mean, I like with World Cup and soccer, maybe it's so different because I don't know about domestic leagues in Australia, or like when exactly is a regular, like, I mean, I believe Premier League is between, like, does it not start in, say, September and then it wraps through the new year? Like,
World Cup is not in the middle of any season. It's like it's in the middle of the summer when no seasons are on. But like the domestic leagues schedule themselves around the World Cup just because it's such a big tournament. And the benefits of it are, like we talked about before, they're very much monetary. So if you're the owner of a team and Jack Hughes scores you a game-winning goal in the gold medal game, guess how many Jack Hughes jerseys I'm selling in the weeks to come. So you sort of take that risk to market your guys on a level that, maybe they're not concentrating on what they should be concentrating on. That's not what you're paying them to do. But there's definitely net positives all around, or else the players union wouldn't go for it. The players wouldn't even want to play. Like there's all these intangibles, and I'm sure statistical reasons that you can look at for any best on best tournament in any sport.
well, I'd love to get Jake and Matt in on this as well, because but I've always thought that the World Baseball Classic should be after the World Series. I've also thought that there are way too many spring training games, but I think also, I mean, we saw Sidney Crosby go down. Let's say that he was out for the season. You have to think that these players are running on absolute fumes right now, like the players from Edmonton and Florida, especially, like the McDavids, Kachucks, like they played 2-3 Stanley Cup finals in a row. And again, like if I'm the NHL, I would be freaking out to no end if my guys are playing in the Olympics, because, if I'm an owner, my goal, of course, is to win the Stanley Cup. And I've also thought that if there was a consistent 4-year World Cup of hockey, that Jack Hughes' goal would be just as special. There has never been a consistent cycle of international hockey. Mm-hmm. And I still think that Jack Hughes jerseys would have sold. I mean, take a look, Dano, about the Paul Henderson goal in the Summit Series, and the Canada Cup Mario Lemieux goal, and so on. Those were in September, and they were massive points for moments in Canadian hockey.
Yeah, so was Crosby's golden goal in 2010. It was in the middle of February.
Sure.
It's the same idea. So I don't know. I don't necessarily buy that. I know that it's a big sticking point with soccer, primarily because these guys almost play 12 years or 12 months out of the year now. They've got their domestic leagues. They got the Copa America. They've got the World Cup, the Euros, all these international friendlies. Like they've got very little time to breathe, as Jake put it before. So I can sympathize with that. But at the end of the day, I honestly think an owner will take any chance he can to put his star in front of an audience that didn't have exposure to that player before. And as of now, anyway, Randy, you're right. Where unless hockey gets together and creates either a Champions League of some sorts where they've got the best from Sweden, the best from Finland, the best from Russia come and do this sort of international tournament, or you do the World Cup every 4 years. But as of right now, Olympics is the pinnacle of ice hockey. Unlike another
Absolutely.
sport.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like one
Matt,
thing
Jim,
I will
what do you
say, like the Olympics are country. It's pride. It's country pride. That's the main reason why you watch the Olympics, is you want to see your country do well. Like as much as we want to see my team versus your team compete, at the end of the day, it's country versus country, and that's bigger than probably any Stanley Cup that any player will ever receive.
Yeah. I'd imagine Jack Hughes can make a better personal gain out of the goal he scored for the States than he ever could for winning a Stanley Cup with Jersey. Just as a
And,
goal
and
scorer.
one last thing to put a bow on this whole thing with the hockey and the Jack Hughes thing. If NHL players were not allowed to participate in the Olympics and that Jack Hughes goal didn't happen, and you just focus on one thing, and that's the Devils sucking wind, Jack Hughes jerseys wouldn't be selling. They'd be saying, "Oh, this kid Jack Hughes is a bum. Get him out of here." That's what they'd be saying. But now that mindset is erased when you see him producing the Olympics, scoring that huge goal.
You know what's hilarious, Matt, is that we have a gold medal winning guy here in Toronto. We're still booing him out the fucking city.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Jake, Matt, do you guys think that there is going to be a raised level of interest of this game in your country? And, forget about where you guys are and in the northern U.S. I could appreciate that there is a level of interest in Nashville, Tampa, Dallas, Vegas, but it's not throughout all of the states. Well, do you guys think that because of what took place, that you are going to see more USA hockey gear, and that there is going to be more of an interest towards hockey in the years going forward?
Definitely during playoff time.
I think there could be. Yeah, like Matt said, definitely. Come playoff time, I think that now that the U.S. proved that they can hang with Canada, they can actually beat Canada. I think that's set for something.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. I think like the main thing I will say is that like playoff hockey is the best hockey, and that's not Olympic hockey. And I feel like listen, I'm not the biggest hockey guru in the world, but I will tell you right now, I will damn sure watch a playoff hockey game. And I feel like that's what you're going to see a lot of people do now that we won a gold medal. And I also feel like it will give the NHL more exposure.
Yeah. And playoff hockey is absolutely incredible. And I don't know how many people in the U.S. Can identify winning the Stanley Cup as the hardest championship to win. And with due respect to the Super Bowl, but to go 4 rounds, 4 best-of-7 series,
Right.
To try and win that Stanley Cup, and the intensity of hockey,
Right.
I think maybe more people will realize that hockey is a pretty intense game.
Yeah.
Before we get into the World Baseball Classic, fellas, I have to bring to the table of how wild Tuesday the 10th was, because there was a lot of things that took place. I mean,
it was Mario Day.
Mario Day?
Yeah, March 10th.
Oh.
And then 1-0. Mario Day.
Oh, got it. I've never heard of that. Is that a thing?
Apparently it is now.
Interesting. Dano, did you ever hear that?
First I heard about it was yesterday as well. So maybe it's a new thing. It's catching.
This is new to me.
If you're a Nintendo player and you love the Mario games growing up, this is great for you.
Yeah.
Dano, did you have the original Nintendo as well?
Yeah, it was never any good, but yeah, I had.
Yeah, no, correct. But what in the world took place yesterday? I mean, me personally, I don't know about you, Dano, but I was not expecting Canada to beat Puerto Rico in San Juan. Lo and behold, that happened. Italy, of course, defeating the United States in Houston. That was a surprise. Mark DeRosa kind of goofed when he had an interview just before that Italy game, thinking that the United States, Matty, hang in there, buddy. But Mark DeRosa making a mistake, thinking that U.S. had already clinched out of the group play. And then, of course, the Max Crosby trade getting revoked. What do you guys think was the most surprising? And, of course, Bam Adebayo scoring 83 points against the Washington Wizards. If you guys had to pick one, what do you guys think was the most surprising event that took place yesterday?
Wow. I mean, Bam Adebayo scoring at 83 is pretty wild. I have my thoughts on how he got there, but that's pretty wild. The Max Crosby trade came out of nowhere, but Bam Adebayo scoring 83 of all people. Again, I'm not going to say what I thought about how he got to the 83 mark, but just of all players, the guy who averages 19 points a game is giving you 83. Come on, that's wild.
That's a big outlier. Honestly, as much as I hated seeing Italy beat Team USA, first off, I want to know what they put in those espressos. That's first off. Second of all, Bam Adebayo scoring 83, I think, was the biggest thing for me because it's the second highest most points in a game scored by a player in NBA history, passing Kobe Bryant 20 years ago. And if this guy had made all 7 of his free throws, he would have hit 90. If he would have made all his free throws, he would have hit 90. So that's pretty significant.
Yeah, I would agree. Just to get Italy beating the States was a big story. It was exciting, especially because they were up so big, and then I'm sure a lot of people tuned in to see the States almost come back, but just fall short. But it's like Jake and Matt said, where it's because it was Bam, and it kind of taints things a little bit because Wilt and Kobe are guys you expect to see up there with the most points ever in an NBA game. And now you're going to see Bam Adebayo's name there for the rest of history. It's very surprising, and nobody ever would have bet $2 on that. So it was the biggest.
Yeah.
20, they ask like, Bam Adebayo must be one of the greatest ever. If they're like, no, he was just okay. He was just a good player.
Yeah.
But you have to admit that he has quite he's accomplished a lot. I mean, he's got 2 gold medals. He's defensive player, all defensive team a few times, made a final.
He's a very good player, but
sure.
He's not a bench warmer, but like you just don't expect this guy to be up there with Kobe Bryant, really anything.
I thought he was retired, to be honest. I didn't even know he was.
He's only 28. He's only 28. Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think he's been around forever.
Not even that old, yeah.
Yeah, no, it does feel like he has been around for a while. But are you guys? What do you guys think about the whole narrative about the whole? Like, I think I heard Robert Ory say that there was an asterisk behind it, Adebayo, and all this stuff. I mean, like. Jake, I don't know if you were sort of agreeing with somebody like Ori, and there were a couple of people. I think JJ Redick had a couple of comments because, from what I understand, Wilt Chamberlain in the NBA, when Wilt Chamberlain scored 100, there was no goaltending. So, like, I don't even know who Wilt Chamberlain played against when he scored 100 points. I mean, that's really neither here. But he was playing with the Knicks. But like, who was he playing against?
He played against the Knicks in that game.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. He was with Philadelphia. But I mean, we don't have to spend a lot of time on this. But I mean, 83 points is 83 points, right?
Yes,
it is. But the guy took 43 free throws in one game. Like, what are we doing? First of all, he took 43 shots as well as 43 free throws. He took 22 threes. I'm not sure if he had 22 3 attempts the whole season.
Right.
which was pretty shocking. But he took 43 free throws. The Miami Heat were fouling on purpose up by 30 against the Wizards, who are playing like my neighbor down the street at this point. Injured. Trae Young is injured. They shut that shut him down. I think Keyshawn George, I think he's a rookie or a second-year player, a high draft pick. He's playing. They're playing though they're very clearly tanking. They gave up 150 points in a regulation game. That's crazy. That shouldn't happen. They're fouling on purpose up 30 in the fourth quarter. Like that.
Yeah, okay. So here's my counter to that. Like, how come nobody has even come close to a team like Washington or a team who's terrible on defense? I hear you that I think he averages 4 free throws a game this season. I could be way off on that number, but I thought I heard that.
I think it's like 4.5, almost 5 free throws a game.
Okay, so how come nobody has even come close to that number against Washington or anybody else?
Well, we got to remember, like, Kobe's 81 is such a complete outlier. Like, we've had a couple of guys like Donovan Mitchell a couple of years ago had 70. This is a weird fact. It was actually the DeMar Hamlin game, not to bring up such a horrible moment, but the game that DeMar Hamlin collapsed and went to the hospital, and that really, just terrible event. Donovan Mitchell had, I think, 70 or 71 for the Cavaliers, but unfortunately, it was the same day as the DeMar Hamlin incident, so it did get overshadowed. So guys have gotten not like that close, but somewhat close. Like Carmelo Anthony years ago, the Knicks had 62.
Devin Booker got over 70. Devin Booker, Joel Embiid.
Devin Booker had 70. I think Karl Anthony Towns a couple years ago when he was still in Minnesota had like 62 or 63.
Right.
A couple of guys have gotten close, but Kobe it's just such an outlier, 81. And a lot of people consider that like the greatest performance of all time. Because not a lot of people were alive for Wilt Chamberlain. That was in the 60s. Like maybe like my grandparents were alive for that. So like it was so long ago. Obviously, we didn't have TV like we had now in 1965.
Sure. Yeah.
Kobe's is the game everyone saw because that was in the 2000s. But it's just such an outlier, and so it's just such an outlier. I think that's why it's such a big deal. It's a record that we never thought would be broken. And it's stood for so long, and like no one's gotten really all that close.
Dano, do you think there should be some criticism, some justifiable criticism on? Like I personally didn't see the game myself, but in terms of whether the Heat were intentionally stopping the clock, whether the refs were fouling Washington a little bit more so. Do you think that there should be, some sort of asterisk behind the Bam Adebayo game? I personally think that, he hit the he made the record, he hit the record. A record's a record.
Yeah, he still made the shots. And, since when in sports do we care about guys doing it purely and honestly, right? So you got baseball records up to wazoo of guys who were juicing. And so on, and down the list. Like Maradona won a World Cup by scoring with his hand, for Christ's sake. And nobody. But I think to the point of like what's sort of been the people keep coming back to on the panel is that you're going to look at this name in 30 years from now and go, who? Right? You're going to see Wilt Chamberlain, who's like a historic figure in the game and broke all these records and was dominant, and et cetera, et cetera. And then you're going to see Bam Adebayo next. And you're like, and Kobe's under him, Carmelo's under him, Embiid is under him. So, it's like you said, there's no asterisk for me. It is what it is. It's a big story because of just who he is. And to Jake's point, it's because it happens so rarely in the game where guys put up those kind of numbers. So it's a great story all around, right? He's a guy who may qualify for the Hall of Fame maybe at the end of his career, depending on how. But so it's fine. It's just like you just wish it was somewhat of the little bit more
somebody else. Yeah. It was a little surprising to see Bam and that stat line.
Yeah.
And we are going to talk about Bam Adebayo towards the end of the show. But over to the World Baseball Classic, guys. And
Actually, Randy, now that we're going to the World Baseball Classic, I have some breaking news about that.
Please, by all means.
Okay. So right now, Italy is up 5-0 over Mexico. And if you pull up that graphic that you showed us earlier, I need you to pull up that graphic again. So because Italy is up 5-0 right now, Mexico would have to win if 5 runs scored or more. So unless this game ends in extras and Mexico wins, the U.S. is in great position to make it to the knockout round.
Well, it looks like going by this. Oh, well, no. Mexico has to win, and they had to win with 4 runs or less. So from what I understand, it looks like U.S. is already qualified.
Yeah, so Mexico is most likely out.
Yeah, because from what I understand, they had a very unique way of the tiebreaker, because I guess the mercy rule is in effect, and games stop after a certain amount of runs.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, they have to do something bizarro with the tiebreaker rules. But Italy is up 5-0. Look at those Italians! My goodness, Matty, Dano. Forza Italia. They are looks like they're going to be joining the U.S. As well as Canada with the next round of the World Baseball Classic.
Just figured I'd bring up that little bit. Sorry if I cut you off.
No, please. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And where are we at with the World Baseball Classic, guys? Jake, you talked about it in a moment, but I'm really interested in it. I think it's exactly what baseball needs. There's a part of the world that has a real excitement level to this game, and you see that with the Latin American countries especially. But when the U.S. does something special, we can see how hyped up U.S. players are when good things happen their way. Floor's open, fellas. How hype are you for the World Baseball Classic?
Well, I was hyped. Well, I'm definitely hyped now, especially after seeing that Italy's up 5-0. That's good to see, because now it gives the U.S. a chance to. Mark DeRosa is spared, and he probably owes everyone on Team Italy a chicken parm dinner after that kind of performance. That's number one. Number two, the U.S. is even more hyped about their sports now, because you saw both men and women in hockey win the gold medal. Although I will say this, I think if you're the Dominican Republic, I think you can beat the U.S. If you're Japan, you can definitely beat the U.S. because the way Japan's just been raking up runs and just hitting against opposing teams, it's effortless what Japan's able to do. And partly it's because they have their own baseball league. But the reason
so long there's no Czech electricians that are pitching. But Maddie, please continue.
But I gotta mention the Dominican Republic too, because I'm pretty certain, don't quote me on this, I'm pretty certain a majority of Major League Baseball players come from the DR. Again, I'm probably wrong about this, and there's the chart. Thank you, Randy. I'm second most in Major League Baseball, and then a lot from that's the most. So there you go. I mean, the numbers say it right there. The DR is responsible for a lot of the big time Major League players. A lot of them come from Major League Baseball, the minors, free agency. It's pretty evident how big the DR is, and the fact that they haven't really done anything, the fact they weren't in the final last year is kind of surprising, but. The DR's got a really good team. Japan is just killing everybody in sight. The U.S., they're walking into the knockout rounds gingerly, and I think that this is a wake-up call for Mark DeRosa, because he made a big blunder, as you mentioned yesterday, by sending out your best players in the game against Italy. But now they can kind of rest easy now that Italy's taking care of business.
Jake, how about you? I mean, with regards to Dano, Jake, we'll get to you in a second, but Dano, where are you with the World Baseball Classic? Of course, Toronto in Canada has had an enhanced level of interest with baseball with the Jays in the World Series, and are you into it at all?
Yeah, of course. I'm a baseball fan at any moment in time, and now is no different. It's always fun to watch best on best and country versus country, and The Blue Jays are very well represented in that regard as well. So there's definitely rooting interest for a few teams. And, to Matt's point, there's you want to see a semifinal of Japan, Dominican Republic, the States, and maybe the Italians because they're on this run. But these teams are, I don't remember them being this stacked. Maybe I'm wrong, but this year seems, especially the American team, seems way more dominant with top level MLB players. So it's fun to watch. It's only going to get more engaging as the tournament goes on. So I'm all in.
Yeah, 17 members of the Italian team on Major League rosters. Pretty impressive. Before we get to Jake, actually, Dano, with regards to Italy's win, I mean, sure, the majority of them are Americans with Italian heritage, but Italy is Italy. Like, does this win even get noticed, say within Woodbridge, the big Italian community here in Southern Ontario? Do you think that a lot of people are going to be rocking the Azzurri World Baseball Classic hat with that eye on it?
No, I can't imagine. But and maybe Matt would be a good ask too. Like, are they up and down the shore pumping their fists to?
you know what's funny? I live on the Jersey Shore, and a lot of people here love the country of Italy because you want to know. I mentioned it before we came on or before we started recording. Italy has a big presence here in New Jersey, like a very big presence.
Yes,
and I'm one of the New Jersey Italians, so you're probably getting you take it from me.
But you still want the States to beat them at baseball. It's the same conundrum we have.
It's my heritage country, but I'm a born U.S. citizen.
Yeah. So Randy, I would say no. Like the hats are cool. You might see a few on the street with the big eye, but most people don't know or don't care or really appreciate how this team is not coming out of nowhere per se. It's like you said, they got almost 20 MLB players on the team. They made the quarterfinals a bunch of times. So they're no slouch, right? You just don't think of them as a baseball country, like not unlike the Netherlands, right? They're the same sort of European countries that you would associate with soccer first, and it's fun to see them playing so well on such a big stage.
And one thing that you mentioned when it came to hockey, Dan, I gotta mention this. You know how you said that something along the lines of how these programs are steadily building towards something good in hockey? Yeah. It's kind of like that with Italy. Italy had a couple of tournaments where they looked pretty good, but they're overachieving this year. They didn't expect this. And I think that the reason why they have this edge is because of the major leaguers that they were able to get on their team, like Vinny Pasquantino, for instance. And then also they got this thing with the espresso machine in the dugout, which I think is really funny. But that's just the one thing that stands out about them. Like they're a productive team. They're an offensive team that's really good pitching wise, and they got the espresso machine in the dugout that makes them a lovable team. So there's something about this team that catches the eye, for sure.
Jake, I'd love to get your thoughts. If your interest has grown with regards to the WBC, but especially, with regards to the game that took place yesterday. I mean, it was more bizarre to see Italy up 8-0 over the U.S. Maybe more so than the fact that Bam Adebayo scored 83 points. But U.S. did make it close, and they did. However, they still lost the game. What exactly went through your head? I guess as a secondary point with regards to the World Baseball Classic, are you getting more interested in it at all?
Not at all. Not the slightest. The tournament hasn't really interested me really ever. I just think the timing's really, really dumb. Dana brought up a good point. Maybe putting them in the middle of the year isn't the worst thing ever. There's no real good time to put it. You put it in before the season. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, sure can. Sorry, I'm just fiddling around with this. There we go.
But yeah, you could put it before the season. The pitchers aren't stretched out. The guy gets hurt so close to the season. In the middle of the year, the season's so long. you run into the problem of, the World Series is happening around Thanksgiving. You put it after the year, you're really competing with the NFL. So it's a tough conundrum. However, I was shocked that they were down 8-0 to Italy, though I did have a weird feeling they were going to lose a game in this stage because it's the way things were going. The first game they played, forget who, the team that just wasn't all that good. They kind of won pretty easily. Second game they played Great Britain. Turks Kabul went out there. He did pitches probably his best. I know he was in a weird spot where he was pitching the one game and then going back to the Tigers.
Right.
And they kind of got kind of a slow start. They were down like 1-0 or 2-0, and they kind of really poured it on. Mexico was a really close game. Granted, Mexico is not a bad team. I know they're getting their ass kicked by Italy right now, but they can hang with teams. The game was close, and then you play Italy, and you just got punched in the mouth. Really unfortunate. Thankfully, I don't know how Marta Rosa thought they were in the next stage. I don't know how you don't know that. That's really embarrassing. But
Well, I mean, I think it's because it's not really cut and dry. I mean, like it was a rather complex way. Like I don't know who figured out that Mexico had to win a game by so much less runs and so on. I mean, it's not something that he really comes across every now and like in a consistent basis as a baseballer.
It is complicated, and like you said, like the run differential is not something that happens in Major League Baseball. But like you're the manager of a team, you gotta know the rules at the very least.
Sure.
At the very least. Thankfully, looks like he's going to get a pass here because it looks like Italy is going to finish off. Mexico looks like in U.S. will advance to the next round, but I'm rooting for them. I'm a little nervous considering Mexico was a close call. They were losing to Great Britain at one point. They got beat by Italy. You needed Italy to beat Mexico in this game to even advance to the next round. Which going in, I was a little nervous. Wasn't sure if that was going to happen. On paper, you could argue Mexico's a better team. Italy's team, I think, is definitely underrated. They have a couple of younger guys. You mentioned Vinny Pescatino. Jack Pagliaone's a guy hasn't played a lot in the majors, but he's a high-level prospect who could break out this year. He hit 2 home runs in the game against the U.S. You look at a team like the DR that is just loaded. It's ridiculous. Japan's very, 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 very good. When they run into one of those two teams, I don't know how confident I am, at least compared to the start of the tournament.
And it would be interesting when the group play finishes and who's actually going to advance. But, Dano, we could see the rise of baseball in Canada, especially after the Jays won the World Series, and we saw a lot of people from our country have some very successful careers. I mean, the number of MVPs that came from this country. I have to tell you, at this stage, 30 plus years after the Jays won the World Series, and how there is like a small community feel to our country, that Canada still has a little difficulty putting out a full roster. I mean, you think of James Paxton, who had been retired for 2 years. I mean, there's a farmer from Quebec who came out of nowhere, and he's representing this team. Like, are you a little surprised? Well, I mean, I guess with that said, and with everything going on with the Jays, like, do you think that baseball is going to grow so much more, specifically because of the World Baseball Classic and the success that could happen? Because, I mean, we're seeing Denzel Clark and we're seeing Otto Lopez, Owen Casey. Like, I mean, they seem to be really proud of Josh Naylor representing Canada.
Yeah, I don't know that the World Baseball Classic is going to help grow it per se, but I think a few other factors will. The Jays being competitive and good is one. Two, just and this may be sort of a weird way to look at it, but with sports like hockey and soccer becoming almost unattainable for most families, baseball is now filling that void where at the grassroots level, you can get in, have your kid play on a single A team, and not break the bank. So it's an affordable game. So
you think baseball is that much more affordable than soccer?
Yeah, my son's in both, and I can tell you that baseball is a quarter of the price for
Really? Wow.
the same level of days committed to training and games. And we just don't have the infrastructure here as far as a national baseball program goes. And I can see it too, where people are already telling my 10-year-old son that if he wants to play, you got to go down south. You got to get into a college and work your way up the ranks there. Where we just don't have that kind of program to develop the kind of players more regularly, like the national hockey program in the States, where they've got this end-to-end plan to get kids in young, put them through the system, expose them to really good coaches and really good systems, funnel them through the college system, and then, produce professional level players. We don't necessarily have that pipeline yet in Canada, but I can see it growing, and the interest is definitely there. The Jays being competitive year in and year out, maybe not winning World Series, but competitive will go a long way, and more Canadian players. So not to say that the Baseball Classic won't have its benefits, because players will get to see, or kids will get to see guys like Naylor and get to see guys like O'Neill play and think, I want to be that too. So it'll help, but I think it'll be a slow growth because I don't know that the appetite is there nationally either.
The growth could be a little slow. And I think that especially it is a shame that Toronto doesn't have any games for the World Baseball Classic. I remember in 2009 going to USA Venezuela when it was here in Toronto, and it was just such an incredible atmosphere. There was only 12,000 fans. I could appreciate some games don't really draw flies, but this would have been a great time to have World Baseball Classic games here in Toronto, especially with everything that happened with the Jays. Speaking of which, why don't we make our way over to Major League Baseball? And Dano, one of our prize prospects, went over to Jake's neck of the woods. And of course, Bo Bichette did leave a mark with the Toronto Blue Jays, spending his entire career. And has left Toronto. Were you surprised at all? And how much of a void do you think he has left the Jays?
Not surprised at all. I got the sense that he wanted out a few years ago. It's very similar to me to Mitch Marner, where you can see a guy who is a world-class player. He led the league in hits for a couple of years, probably would have again this year if he didn't get hurt. So you can see that his heart really wasn't here if you watch him closely enough. But it's going to leave a bigger void than I think people want to consider, where we've made amazing strides in having arguably 6 legitimate starting pitchers entering the season, maybe 7 if you throw in Eric Lauer in there. You've beefed up your bullpen guys. You hope guys like Ernie Clement and Addison Barger maintain, if not take another step forward. But like it or not, Bo is a huge shoes to fill. It's a big hole for the team. It changes the dynamic. It changes the way that they line up. It changes everything. So, don't be surprised if the Jays fall off again this year, or not again, but if they don't make it to the World Series again. But I'm hoping that the Mets keep metting and that Bo Bichette has the worst year of his life this year.
And, Jake, what better time to ask you with regards to Bo Bichette? How excited are you to see Bo with the Metropolitans? And do you think that he's going to be a big difference maker? Because obviously the Mets were so close last year to get into the playoffs.
I am looking forward to seeing Bo Bichette. I was very, very surprised that he signed with them. Well, was I surprised he left the Jays a little bit? I think as free agency went on, like Daniel said, you kind of got the feeling he was probably going to leave. If you ask me, before last season started, I was like, yeah, he probably leaves. After they went to the World Series, I was like, I thought that would convince him. Obviously, it didn't. But I'm not sure what his defense will look like at third base. I'm preparing it for it to not look so good. He hasn't really played it. And his footwork isn't the best. There was he played second base during the World Series when he came back from the injury. I know he was kind of playing hurt. I think a lot of people wanted him to move to second base because of the defensive limitations that he has. If they were going to sign him to a long-term deal, which he originally wanted, but the guy could hit. He hit 300 last season, and I am excited to see what that looks like because they're going to need all hands on deck this season. So I am excited to see what he looks like with the Mets.
Yeah, and what kind of what do the Mets need, Jake? I mean, like they were so close last year, and they didn't get it. They got Bichette. I got the wrong file in front of me here, but I mean, do you think that the Mets, from what I remember, they had a number of departures for that who left free agency? Like, do you think that they're okay? Here we go. Between losing Pete Alonso, Edwin Diaz, you think about Cedric Mullins. They did add. They got Marcus Semien. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they traded Brandon Nimmo for him.
So, what do you think? Is it? Do you think that they're going to be scratching for a wild card spot after this? After what happened last year?
I'm hoping they should be. Their offseason was weird. There was a point in the offseason where I was like, this is an absolute train wreck. There were other points where I was like, okay, this might not be so bad. So I don't really know what to expect. I'm kind of preparing for the worst. I've seen them collapse far too many times. They've let me down far too many times, so I'm kind of preparing for the worst. But on paper, I think they have a decent team. They need to have some better starting pitching. I think Freddie Peralta will help that, but not sure if he'll be enough. The bullpen's kind of a new look. The team overall looks a lot different. So they're, to me, one of the bigger wild cards in all of baseball. They're a team that just you already don't know what you're going to get. So I'm very interested to see what things look like in April, May, early on in the season, because their GM David Stearns, who I'm not going to lie, he has one of the more punchable faces in
that's what I love about you, Jake. You always have these kind of comments for anybody. It's beautiful.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I call him Sir Geek a lot. That's what I call fans. But look, he said he wants to improve their run prevention, which is just the Harvard douche way of saying improve their defense, and he really didn't. Like you have a shortstop that should probably play second, playing third. You have a second baseman playing first in Jorge Polanco, though they did bring in Luis Robert to go over in center field. Semien to go over at second, so maybe he balances out. I don't know, but he didn't really go all in on improving the run prevention like he said he would. That being said, he didn't necessarily put a horrendous team on paper in the offseason, which is weird. So I don't know what to expect at this point, but hopefully it's not a horrendous collapse like it was last year.
And honestly, Jake, if Toronto's Blue Jay fans' words mean anything to you, you're gonna love Bo. He's an excellent player. He's a likable guy. He's quiet. He doesn't stir controversy, but he is gonna frustrate you on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to them playing third. Honestly, I really think they should DH him. Brett Baty played well last year. He was a little better at third base. If he takes another step forward, he could be a solid third baseman. And also, young players, I don't like DHing young players. It's really a veteran position, DH. So I would honestly DH Bichette. Maybe he ends up DHing IL now. Who depends on how he looks. But I am happy that they added his bat to the line because that was something that was needed.
Yeah, you're gonna love him for that reason. And again, he's not terrible at defense either. It's like I don't think he's this massive void out there, but he's never played third. And I know like Toronto, especially, like we've got a spotlight on him, and every preseason or spring training game he plays, every time he drops the ball in practice, we're like, see, he's the worst player ever. The good thing we got rid of him, but he'll be fine. And honestly, you're really gonna like him. He really is a genuine guy.
Yeah, he's genuine. I just wonder, like I'm always curious about how much one player can make a difference, because, like, and I bring this up all the time. Like, you have the two best players in the world in Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout in LA, and they couldn't do a single thing. And like, I mean, was the team behind him that poor in Los Angeles? Like, I just wonder if that it is, one of those things where that you are one piece away, or it's just one, or if there was just bad luck in LA. I don't know.
The Angels
anyway.
are a complete joke.
Yeah. Dano, I completely understand if you do have to get going. But before you do, though, I mean, what do you think about the Jays for next year? For this year, because nobody was expecting them to make the World Series last year, and you get Dylan Cease, and you get this a kid from Japan. Like, what do you think?
Not even just make the World Series. Nobody was expecting them to make the playoffs last year. They kind of came out of nowhere and had a magical season. Springer was everything to this team when Vladdy struggled early in the season, and then when Bo got hurt. Like, there was a lot of things that just went right. Even the Yankees not being as good as they were supposed to be helped the Jays win the division. You remember, like, I think it was a tiebreaker at the end of the season, wasn't it? Or they won by half a game or a game. So like it wasn't like they walked away with the division. But like I said before, I think that they've done a good job beefing up what is an already aging starting rotation. And, even with Scherzer in there at 41, I don't know how many games he's really going to start.
Yeah.
But I like Cease. Again, he's a bit of from what I watch and see, he can frustrate you as good as anybody else. He's a strikeout king, but he also gives up the big hit. Bieber did the same thing last year where he came in and gave up a lot of meaningful home runs to opposition, especially in the playoffs. The Okamoto kid's supposed to be good. He looks good. Like I said, you hope that a guy like Ernie Clement is not just a flash in the pan and sort of a one-off playoff performer, but more of a solid everyday contributor. So they should be competitive at the very least. I don't have uber high expectations for them to go back to the World Series, but I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me either. Like, you still have Vladdy in his prime. You still got, you got Kirk, who's a really good hitter, and you got a really good pitching staff bullpen as well. So we'll see. Honestly, if I were to guess, I would think they're a wild card team, and they'll be competitive, but I don't have aspirations for World Cup or a World Series title this year.
Yeah. Well, a wild card berth, they still get to the playoffs where anything can happen.
Sure.
Talk about that background behind you. You do have a maple leaf adorned tank, and you think that the Leafs should tank and get that top 5 pick, keep that top 5 pick, potentially draft Gavin McKenna.
I don't even care if it's Gavin McKenna, but you can't give up another solid first round pick to, of all teams, the Boston fucking Bruins again. Right, this just cannot happen. So you're I think 5 points out of 5th last overall. So just keep on losing, boys. Keep on getting 2 shots a period, and we can get this done and salvage what's been a terrible season.
It has been a terrible season, but don't worry about it. The Leafs are going to win the cup next year, so it'll be all for naught.
Things have happened.
Daniel, thanks so much. Really, always love having you on. Let's do it again soon, okay?
My pleasure. Anytime. Boys, thank you so much for a great conversation. Hopefully we'll talk soon.
Take care, Dan.
Okay.
Dan Leggieri. So, Maddie, thank you so much for sticking it out there. Like, you're having some video issues there,
Yeah,
but
I don't know what's going on. I guess technology decides to be a real pain in the ass today for me. I don't know why.
no, you know what? No worries. Now, can you see me and Jake?
I can see. Can you see me?
No, but it's all good. We could keep going. I mean,
Okay, good. Okay, that's good.
like like where are you with the New York Yankees? Like what with regards to what you could potentially expect from Garrett Cole? They let's see. I mean, they re-signed Cody Bellinger and Trent Grisham,
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
Goldschmidt. They I guess between Devin Williams, yeah. Like I mean, it seems that they kept the nucleus there.
Yeah.
I maybe Garrett Cole is the outlier. Like, first of all, do you think that he's got the ability to come back and be productive? Do you think the Yankees are going to, um, make a strong run?
All right. For the love of God, Garrett Cole, please come back. For the love of Jesus, please come back, because this rotation last year was very mediocre without him. And if you look at our rotation, like this Yankee team, they're literally the definition of running it back. We had the same team from last year, except for the addition of Ryan Weathers. If we could get Cole back, that'd be great, because then we have Freed and Rodon and Cole and Schlittler. And I guess if you need a fifth guy, I'm thinking maybe Luis Gil. But like Cole would bring so much rotation that we didn't have last year that we kind of need. And this team, like Judge's going to do Judge things, even at the age of 34. That's huge. But I think the main thing that I got to say is that we have to make sure that, for the purposes that like the rest of our team produces, because it can't be just the Aaron Judge show. Now, getting Cody Bellinger back was huge. However, we need more production from our infield. I think Ben Rice, I mean, he's going to be the wild card, because we've put him at first base a couple times. His first base defense isn't too good, but he's a good catcher. And honestly, like it's a push and pull, because Austin Wells' bat has not been good. And I think that if you want to get Ben Rice back in the lineup, they're going to try and put him at catcher a little bit more often than not compared to last year. But he's not a natural catcher. He's a natural first baseman. Why we brought back Paul Goldschmidt, I have no idea. For me, that's the mystery of the day for me. And then also, I think that our rotation should be okay. Our outfield should be okay. I hope Anthony Volpe gets a freaking grip and starts to hit the ball better. And what do you have, like 16, 17 errors and a batting average of like 211, and it went like 1 for 35 at one point. He was terrible. So he needs to step his game, but he's still trying to heal from injury. So Jose Caballero is our shortstop for the time being. He actually showed some improvement. But Volpe, when he comes back, he needs to get the chicken parmesan hero swing back, because he was dreadful last year. Absolutely, positively dreadful. And he needs to wake up.
Maybe the AL East is wide open. Maybe Bo Bichette will be that difference maker that the Mets need. Major League Baseball season is a couple of weeks away, but coming up right now is straight facts, bro. Relax. It is the final segment of the show. Segment that I really do enjoy. And Maddie, I don't know. As you guys know, I'm not the biggest football guy in the world, but I had an affection for Tua Tagovailoa. I thought that, before the injuries happened, that he had some spunk, he had some moxie, and I thought that he could have done some really great things in Miami. He's found his way over to Atlanta, and with Michael Penix Jr., another lefty with injury troubles. Who knows what's going to happen in Atlanta? But could Tagovailoa have maybe fine lightning in that bottle and lead the Falcons to a little bit of success? Maddie, Tua Tagovailoa will win a playoff game with the Atlanta Falcons. Straight facts, bro. Relax.
Relax. Bro, relax. Like the easiest bro relax I can ever say. First off, we're in a Discord together, and the amount of things I said about Tua Tagovailoa were not too kind. And listen, I respect him as a player, but he's taken so many concussions and so many hits to the head. I'm really worried about his health, his mental health, because like, when you take concussions to the head, like it's a lot. And I think that he's just past his prime. Like he was great in Alabama. He never really had a heyday in Miami. He was okay, I guess, at best. But you got two lefty quarterbacks in Atlanta. One is really young, Michael Penix Jr. And right now, Tua signing a one-year deal with Atlanta. We were all laughing about it in our Discord, first off. Second off, Tua's days are just far behind him. I think that if you put two lefty quarterbacks with injury issues on the roster, you're going to go with the younger one because they have more to prove and probably more to give. Tua's days are far behind him. And even if he does become the starter in Atlanta, they ain't going anywhere with Tua Tagovailoa. So, bro, relax.
Well, at 28 years old, I don't really like seeing the potential of someone losing his prime. But with those injuries, the scary concussion, I think it was back in Miami, hopefully he can bounce back. But yeah, the cards are stacked against him.
Yeah, big time.
Jake. Yeah, Jake. I mean, look, Major League Baseball does not have a salary cap. And there's such a huge tilt towards the LA Dodgers. And you have to think that even baseball itself, maybe the majority of players who are not on the LA Dodgers think that something has to be done. Whether that means that they're going to sacrifice their own livelihood, that remains to be seen. But there has to be something with regards to allowing certain teams to have these incredible payrolls while other teams get nothing. Could Major League Baseball find the recipe to avoid a work stoppage, which the CBA will expire at the end of this upcoming season? Jake, Major League Baseball will avoid a work stoppage and will include a salary cap. Straight facts, bro, relax.
That's bro relax for me. I have a hard time seeing them avoiding a work stoppage. I don't even know if we're going to have baseball in 2027. There are a lot of issues. I said even when they had like the mini lockout, what was it, 2022, around there, that there were still some pretty glaring issues. They just needed to get the season going and didn't want to miss games that year, so they just threw something together and figured, all right, we'll figure out the rest later. But things have gotten so bad. They're going to have a work stoppage. And there's a lot of things to talk about with the salary cap and what is it going to be and how is the luxury tax going to work. And they're going to clash because it's going to be, for the most part, the owners are probably going to want it. And, the Players Association is going to push hardly the other way. So I have a hard time seeing Major League Baseball avoiding a work stoppage. I have a hard time seeing them even playing baseball next year.
Do you think that they should have a salary cap? Because I do.
I've gone
absolutely.
I've gone back and forth on this for a while. They probably should. Every other league has it. My only reason against it is, so your issue is you have a lot of teams that aren't even trying, and now you're with no financial limits. Now you're going to put a financial limit in there. I don't know how that's supposed to help. Revenue sharing is also a disaster in Major League Baseball. I don't know how the salary cap is going to help that. So I'm not completely sold. You look at the other leagues, the NBA has a salary cap, or they kind of have a salary cap. It's kind of a myth at this point with the contracts that we see. But you had the Warriors and Cavs in the finals 4 or 5 years in a row. The NHL has a salary cap. We've had the same cup final 2 years in a row. MLB, outside of this year, these past 2 years, with the Dodgers have had, I would say, the most parity. So I don't really think the cap helps with that necessarily. So I'm not sure what putting a salary cap in. Like, if you take your Dodgers hate out of it, Like everyone hates the Dodgers and what they're doing is annoying, but it's within the rules. Every team can do it.
Yeah.
Like if,
But don't you think that they should change the rules though? I mean, I know it might be hard for you to think outside the box here, but to give Juan Soto $765 million,
that's ridiculous. Like that contract is ridiculous. Not my money. Steve Cohen can pay. It's his baseball team. He can pay guys as much money as he wants. It's his money, not mine. But that's a asinine contract.
But don't you think they should change the rules though?
There probably should be something done, whether it's you do max deals like the NBA does. I know the NHL caps their contracts. You can't give more than 8 years or something, or it's like $7 on an extension or 8 for a new player coming in. Something like that. Maybe you play around with the luxury tax. But if you take I know Matt has been very adamant on this show, on other programs, in our Discord, that he despises the Dodgers. Despise Shohei Ohtani. But taking the Dodgers head out of it, I need somebody to tell me how the salary cap is going to help these other issues. I've yet to find someone that can give me a legit reason. I just don't see how it's going. They're probably going to put one in. I think they're not going to have a choice.
Well, I mean, I think that it'll help. It'll give a chance for other teams to have a shot. Now, when you have teams like Pittsburgh and maybe to a degree Kansas City, throw in the Cincinnati, I don't know, but you have to have, I believe you have to have every single team with the potential to pay player A whatever the contract is. And obviously for Corey Seager to get $60 million for 4 years, only so many teams are able to afford that. Now, it's another thing, of course, now some cities have a bigger advantage. There's a lot of things to do in New York. There's not a lot of things to do in Oklahoma City.
Yes.
That's one disadvantage, but the lack of resources to pay somebody, that is a problem that, if you have 32 teams, you should have 32 like each team should have the equal opportunity to go after said player, because I don't think it makes a difference. Like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, I mean, his popularity is through the roof. He's in Oklahoma City. Is it going to be that much different in New York? I personally don't see it.
Not as because he's, especially a guy of his caliber, he might get a little bit more eyeballs on him if he were on the New York Knicks, just because it's New York. But in terms of popularity, I don't think we have much of that.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant, I think their heyday of popularity was in Oklahoma City. Yeah. Reggie Miller in Indiana, and I mean the list goes on and on. But,
agreed.
Hopefully, baseball will avoid any work stoppage, because it's just so detrimental to any sport when they go through this process.
Well, yeah,
guys.
I just want to say my last thought on it is, it is probably better to that teams have a fair advantage. Like right now, the Pirates don't have a chance in heck of re-signing Paul Skeens really in a few years. But if there's a cap, they might. But yeah, so I guess we'll see what happens. Hopefully, at least have a season in 2027.
Hopefully, and hopefully we could get together another time and talk some more sports. Jake, Maddie, as always, it's a pleasure.
Love it.
For Dan Leggieri, Matt Siriani, and Jake Cardinale, I'm Randy Courret. This is Voice of the Fans Canada. Hope you're doing well and keeping safe. We will talk to you next time.